Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
What is going on, my Impact Wrestling fam? Welcome to episode 102. Dalmatians works as well on this one. My name is Jeff, and alongside me, as always, is the Johnny Gargano to the Alex Shelley. It's Max, everybody. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, Jeff? I like that comparison.
Yeah, I'm your mentor or something. I don't know the relationship.
Are you saying I'm not signed to this show? Is that what we're
quick to jump to that? No, guys. What's going on, everybody? We're excited. We got a lot to talk about. It's kind of a slow week in the world of professional wrestling news-wise, but we will somehow stretch it out. We have a lot of comments to go over. There's some things, obviously, you can see on the Tron there. So
it really has been. Like I feel like the biggest, most recent news thing is obviously Vince leaving, but I'm pretty sure that happened. That happened like last.
Yeah, we got to talk about that a little bit.
So
death
like,
by limo,
but it just
only one way out.
But yeah, but that's really it. Like I feel like that's the only notable thing that's happened. So
yeah, but we have 8 comments nonetheless, so we got some stuff to talk about at Hot Topics, ranging from a few things we mentioned there, but most importantly, Max, what you looking forward to talking about?
I'm actually looking forward with a little bit of Rascals talk.
Right.
And we'll get there later on.
Yeah. So that's something obviously you'll have to bring into play because I'm obviously not in the know here, but excited to talk about that. Love my Rascals, and more importantly, we love you guys. Thank you for rocking with us. The only thing we have to say, if you're hiding in the shadows, Twitch live right here, right now with us at Twitch, back.tv/TNAIW channel. We're at 100. We're supposed to be at 102. You know the deal. We're not whores for the likes per se. But 102, we have to match it. So let's get that going. But we're up on YouTube, 322. You know the Emergence goal is 325, so we're on pace for it. And we got the Max effect. The numbers are back up a little bit, but one friend at a time, one fan at a time. It's all that matters to us. And Twitter, of course, shout out to Io, 3,846. So love you guys. Pleasure doing it. I love doing the live tweeting on Thursdays, getting to talk to people. So that's a good time. But let's stop bannering. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get. Right. I got to figure out a nice way to transition. Thank you. But here's a power rankings. Power rankings. We're back with Datila doing the voice there. And speaking of that, every Tuesday you could check out her and Burt Macklin at who you can write at Burt Macklin 11 if you want to be part of the part of the power rankings. There we go. All it is you watch Impact, you vote 1 through 10 in the chat. Easy, simple like that. Once again, welcome to Kyle and Noah, our 2 newest members. But you can check them out Tuesdays, 7 p.m. for GoGoPowerRankings, where they talk about a little more in depth than Max and I will. What's going on, Millard? Welcome to the party. Let's get started.
Number 10, Tag Team Champions Team Ragnarok. Number 9, Tag Team Champions Bullet Club. Number 8, Killer Kelly. Number 7, World Champion Jordan Grace. Number 6, Trey Miguel. Number 5, X Division Champion Mike Bailey. Number 4, The Death Machine Sami Callihan. Number 3, Kushida. Number 2, Eddie Edwards and Honor No More. Number 1, World Champion Josh Alexander.
All right, Max.
It's nice to see Josh Alexander back up top after his week hiatus. Apparently the people listen to me.
That's what I had to be. I was waiting for it. I knew it was coming. Good to see Josh back up there. I love seeing Kushida on there, but there's a lot of people that were just on the cusp of making it, man. So every vote does really matter. I mean, Rich Swann had a shot up there, right? Vexed as well. I know I'm missing a ton. Motor City Machine Guns in general. I mean, Alex got a freaking appreciation package. But speak of the devil, there's Datila. You can see what they have to say about it. But if you want to make an impact, join the GoGoPowerRankings committee. All right, let's see how we got there. That time it works. Talk about impact in the show that was this week. All right, I thought it was a good show. We'll talk about that. I don't know if we should throw our grades now or we save them for the poll part. But I thought it was a show that ended off and began with the main event. So you can't argue with that, with the with that.
No, I mean, the matches were good. I feel like I looked at the Emergence card, and I think there's only, from what I saw, only 5 matches listed. So there wasn't a ton that, I mean, obviously we got Bullet Club versus Honor No More in a match, but there really wasn't a ton of stuff, like no new matches coming up. It was a good card. It was a good show, but I'm really interested to kind of see how Emergence plays out more and what gets added to that. I want to call it a pay-per-view, but whatever it is, I'll still call it a pay-per-view to kind of round it out. So that's kind of what I want to see now. But overall, I thought it was a solid episode. But first 2 matches were great, but I agree. After that, it was kind of, there wasn't tons of,
like, as far as progression. When these when you have these 5 to almost 6, because I think this is going to be on. No, this is on a Friday as well. But what is it, about 5-week build because of where the last one was? It was a short turnaround.
Yeah.
You're going to have some episodes where I thought this was a great episode, and we'll talk about that obviously in depth. But it wasn't anything moving us forward too much. There wasn't. It was about today and slightly about me.
Yeah. Some episodes are just going to be good episodes with good wrestling, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like that's one of these episodes. Obviously, we got official Killer Kelly debut.
That's true.
I think so we got that, and obviously, I'm sure within the next, hopefully 2 weeks, she'll get something to go on. At least something on the pay-per-view. Maybe a pre-show match or something. I don't know how fast they want to push her on there, but we'll see.
Yeah, so we'll talk about her. It seems like everyone's talking about her, which is a good thing. But we started off with BTI, Bhupinder Gujjar. The roadblock put in front of him was Vincent by Brian Myers. He defeats Vincent. Look, man, we'll get into that a little bit more. I don't think this is where I want the DMC represented per se. But here we are. We'll get into that. Heath distraction here. We continue that. Heath comes out and beats up Vincent at the end with his finisher. I don't know what beats him up.
To be fair, Vincent just lost his ROH 6-man tag championship 2 weeks ago, so I'm sure he was a little distraught about that. Can't put on the best match possible. Things happen. Sometimes you take some L's 2 in a row. He didn't lose to that horrible spear. So
that is true. He lost with a little help. So a little different way. So you could tell that they played Vincent as the vet here, but solid match. Whatever. BTI continued the DMC chase, I guess, for Gujjar. Next up, which was the actual Impact on Access TV episode, Eddie Edwards, right into a main event. Eddie Edwards defeating Ace Austin. I know we'll talk about that a little bit in the comments, but I ate this match with a spoon, man. I enjoyed it. These are one of these matches where it's like, I know we talk about the top of the card, or people complain about the roster, and we will do a Impact Zone soon for those who have asked, where we could look in the depth charts a little bit more. But this really felt video game-ish. If I'm playing an Impact video game, I pick Eddie Edwards. That's, you come and then you pick Ace Austin. It just felt like a big deal. I mean, or at least a viable match on the card, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like both these guys have potential to be main event guys. Eddie's one of those guys that can always very quickly pop back into the main event if you need him. Like he's always going to be up there. And I think Ace, depending on what he does with him and Chris, I think definitely if they decide to pull the trigger, could also very quickly get up there. But no, I thought it was a great match. And I think I was getting a little, as much as I love me some Bullet Club, I was getting a little bored of the Bullet Club versus Honor No More. But I kind of felt that the push to what they're going to be doing at Emergence, I really like. So it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, you know what? I was getting a little over this, but now I'm like, oh, you know what? Now I'm more intrigued to it. So I think that, these matches where they run into each other is a good thing, and it's really going to set up for, hopefully, one of the few times I'll root for a Bullet Club loss to lead to some Honor or gold.
Yeah, I didn't know which way you'd go. We'll get to that, but I was wondering if you would actually go against the grain with the Honor No More Hope. But we'll talk about that.
We'll discuss that later.
Speaking of Bullet Club, though, and Honor No More, King and Bay, respectively, representing each, were ringside. Really liked the thing, man. I don't know if you caught what they said, but Kenny said that if Eddie's the captain, I'm the lieutenant, man. I thought it was cool because I like the vibe between them two. We talked about it. If they go the route of Honor No More breaking up, Kenny, Eddie still together, and maybe being a kingdom type thing would be really dope. But anyways, Eddie picks up the win here. I don't think this made Ace look weak at all, and we'll talk about that. Did you want to?
Kenny is one of those people. Of all the people from Honor No More that are, I guess, back/new, Kenny King is the one that I'm most excited and happiest is back in Impact.
Really,
I loved Kenny King. Kenny King is I love Kenny King. I like having Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, but I'm really excited that Kenny King is back in Impact.
I mean, yeah, I love Kenny King. That doesn't negate. I don't want to negate that by saying that I'm still on the Taven train, but
yeah, you're Matt Taven for world champion.
Hey man, toot. Got to ride that motherfucker till the brake or the wheels fall off. But I just think that. No matter what happens, I don't want to jump the gun, but if no matter what happens in that match, stipulation-wise, we hopefully still get them on the screen. There's no loss.
Yeah.
If it adds to the depth and we start dividing them, cool. If not, I'm more than happy to have them together. But moving on, so Eddie picks up the win there. I see Parkside 7, Millard saying, I'm surprised at the booking of Ace since he's been back from New Japan. We'll talk about that later. He's losing a lot. I don't think so. I think they mentioned that they just got a win over the Kingdom. So Honor No More was actually needing the victory. I know and they lost, I think he lost a couple other matches, but he did get that win, and they mentioned that. I think we'll talk about Ace more in depth in the comments, though. Next up, Gia was or Heath was coming down, I'm guessing still coming down from BTI, and he's just on the Rhino Revenge tour. He's mad. He's Batman, I guess. Next up was a Ric Flair. Actually, let me ask you that. How do you like the Heath stuff? Redheaded Rebel. Are you? It's there.
I don't know. Yeah, I kind of really want Heath to be Heath and Rhino as like
you're still riding that.
It's like a jobber tag team. Like that's what I want. Like I want them to be like those guys who I feel like where they should be.
Okay.
Is just as a tag team together and just used to elevate younger guys. I like Heath, but I don't know.
I think he's a victim of timing and injury, unfortunately. But I think he could get the momentum back. I don't know if this is the route. The crowd seems into it when it's happening. And once again, he's a professional dude. He's going to get the crowd over one way or another. So it's not like an eyesore or anything I'm negative about. But I think I hope they could find something for him that's a little more.
He really needs to bulk up more like Jinder and McIntyre. And then I think he'll eventually deserve a world title shot, and then obviously back with WWE for his crowning achievement of the final man from 3MB to win the world championship there. So
all right. Next we have one of 3 Ric Flair ads. This was not the moment of the week one, so we won't mention it. But it is nice to mention though that hey, we got some advertising, which is cool. Next up was Gia. She was with Josh. She's talking about how the match happened, how we got here for him and Shira tonight. One thing I want to ask you guys, if you guys in the chat can let me know. I see Ace had only 1 week win since she's been back. We'll talk about that at the comments thing.
Yeah, I looked at it. He technically has 2.
Okay. But so with Josh here, they're setting it up, going back to him and Shira. But the thing I was about to say was, it says on YouTube that it was a world title match between Shira and Josh. And I was in a rush. I was on a boat for before this in Cooperstown. And so I didn't get time to look it up. But on the commentary, I remember Tom saying that if he gets a victory here, he's entitled to a world title shot, right? So anyways, correct me if I'm wrong. So if you guys in the chat know, or Max, you can look.
I'll find it.
But yeah, moving on there. Shelly comes in, says, yeah, you take care of business with Shira. I'm a whole different game. Skill matters. I'm the quickest. I'm the best. Most technical. Which you can't argue with. So either way, keeping that emergence in our mind. Next up was Trey and Kid. Laredo Kid picking up a tag team win over Swinger and Dice. Man, I'm glad they're utilizing Swinger and Dice as a team. I have to repeat this narrative so I can beat it into the heads of anyone who's listening. Plant that seed. Swinger and Dice need that bromance win. I don't think Trey and Kid are formidable. Like, I don't think that's the route they're going. Max, I know you have something you wanted to mention on where you think Trey's headed.
Yeah. So I was trying to look up the match thing, but I'll go back to that later. I think so. Trey actually put it on Twitter back on July 27th. He said, I'm not interested in booking any more singles matches. The Rascals are back, so if you want me, you have to want us. I'll honor the single bookings I have, and then that's it. # book the Rascals. So obviously this wasn't done with his return to the tag team in mind, most likely when they shot this. But I do think it's interesting and a possibility that, I mean, if the Rascals come back, that's an immediate addition to the tag team division.
Yeah.
And obviously we've seen Trey grow from where he was before. So I think that would be really interesting. Do you think that's something that would actually happen given the
circumstances?
The situation.
Yeah. I think, look, man, I don't. You could chop it up however angle, and I respect all sides. Really do. We love both Wentz and Kimber, right? We've since our last podcast we loved Kimber. But we weren't there. And put all that aside, I don't know that, but what it does say to me, and I won't get into any of that because once again we're outside people, and all of y'all are except the two, whatever. I think for Trey to do this, it says a lot about Trey's character. I don't know what Wentz's ability to pick up bookings has been since being released. And once again, putting what you think about his release aside, this is a friend picking up a friend and making, hey, you want me, you're taking Wentz with me. So from that angle, I respect it. And I think by doing that and good people that we trust in Trey, having this dude's back and not running from him says a lot. So I think the connections there, I think the ability of Wentz is not in question here whatsoever. The talent of Wentz is not the question. I think people could get over it if the right things are said and done and everyone feels confident in going forward. I don't know if that's an answer, but
yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I think obviously when you're close friends with someone, what they do, you may overlook certain things or you may back their stories, whatever. Okay. But the people that are closest to Wentz, which would be, I would say, Dez and Trey, or Dez and Trey, have both seemed to back him. Even Dez's wife has backed him. Right. So, and you would think if anybody would know the story or at least know the most information about it, it would be them. So, I mean, obviously we saw with Chris when his stuff came out, people, close to him turned on him, and Sammy was like, "Bro, I'm done with you."
Okay.
So, whereas with this, so I don't know. I mean, I think obviously you look at the situation. I would mean from a pure wrestling standpoint, I'd love to see them back together. But I mean, I don't know any of them. But if you have the people closest to you backing you up,
it's a good place to start. And we'll see what comes of it. I hope, personally, I hope so. I hope he gets back on there. I think it would be great for him. I'm a fan of Myron Reed as well. The MLW stuff maybe allows him to opens that door for him to come through. I don't know if it's an exclusive signing or what. But that would be cool as well. Either way, I feel like you still need 3 Rascals, so someone needs to come into play. If that's a Blake Christian, who we mentioned before, or a Myron Reed, I'm all for it. But I do hope Wentz is part of that, man. And the guys on that side, what can you show me going forward? If we got to be, we got to find compromise in letting people find second chances, even if we do think no second chance was even needed. So, I respect it. Next, let's move on here. BTI flashback. We get that. I like this because it reminds people that, hey, there's a BTI. But also because it continues at least the storyline of this DMC. At least it's relevant, right? We'll get to how I feel about it, but at least it's relevant. Myers and Googer, kind of Myers ducking Googer again. Kind of saying you beat Vincent, but something, I don't even know what it was. I love Myers, so it's still entertaining. My feelings on Googer, prospect, possibility of great things. Seems like a good dude. Nothing but wishful hope for him. But right now he's still far in the beginning process for me. Anyways, Decay come, and instead of Googer, he gets Black Taurus next week. Myers does, so maybe picked the wrong side there. Maybe should have just took the match with Googer, but a good little thing.
That actually should be a really good match.
Oh, yeah. And on top of that, I thought it was funny to see Myers ducking one and then kind of getting the worst of the two in my eyes. So next up was an OVW showcase. First, we got Tasha and Savannah out there on commentary. Finally, she comes back, right? We get to see Tasha doing something. I was hoping it would be in the tag, but it looks like she's going to be first up on the Killer Kelly train. I don't know. We'll see where that goes. I know we'll talk about that a little more later as well. But first we get, and I wish I had got their names. I hope it's right, and I hope I don't butcher this. But it was cool, first of all, to plug OVW. It was cool to have some new people on there to get a little shine, but also have a kind of 3 different reasons of having this, right? You put over OVW, you still get Tasha and Savannah to do something, and then you also get Killer Kelly on the end. So Tiffany Nieves defeated Jada Stone, I think it was.
Jada Stone,
okay,
according
cool.
to ImpactWrestling.com.
Thank you, Max. Official from...
That could still be wrong, because ImpactWrestling.com says that Eddie Edwards with Kenny King faced Ace Austin versus Chris Bay. Apparently, apparently Chris Bay, this is a 3-way, and Chris Bay just stood back and watched his friend get beat.
Oh, man. But yeah, so she defeated her. Quick match. It didn't really showcase him, but only a little bit. Obviously, the meaning of this was to bookend it with Tasha and Savannah, and obviously Killer Kelly. So
maybe this is the start, though, of OVW on Impact Dark and Impact Dark Elevation on YouTube, just like AEW does. Maybe this is where they're going to put all their OVW people.
It's possible. But that's what happened. The bigger story, obviously, Killer Kelly. Not a big fan of the chokehold. I never liked the master lock or anything like that that takes and they go limp. And I'm not a big fan of that. But she did the implant buster, and that's probably the bigger news. So that was cool to see as well. And she took no prisoners, man. I wrote down it's like if you put Ava Marie, if you went into the old WWE games and you could just turn up all the attributes, I feel like that's Killer Kelly. Like everything just So good times. Happy to have her. I know we'll talk about her later as well. But that was dope, and it looks like Steels and Killer Kelly are on a collision course. Next up was VBD on the stairs, and I will say this week, I really enjoyed it. Not that I didn't.
You enjoyed the stairs.
I enjoyed the stairs. The stairs were not to nowhere; they were to somewhere, and they were to a good damn promo. Nevs means ice cream in Spanish. It's maybe. I'm not up to my Spanish, but
so her name is Tiffany Ice Cream.
Tiffany Ice Cream. She could be with Lady Frost. There you go. Tag team. No, so VBD on the stairs, I enjoyed it. The promo was simple. And the reason I say this, I know, once again, maybe it was deeper than I am. But when you do the cryptic stuff, it works. It works. It gets the whatever factor. But I don't see VBD as the cryptic, like the dark whatever energy. They're more like the TV villain. And that's what exactly this was. They said exactly what they needed to do. He was the mastermind telling his lackeys what to do. And then the beautiful Doring step. Loved it.
Yeah, the cryptic stuff is more like the Wyatt family. Right. And I don't think VBD is the Wyatt family. But I agree. They're like, it's like Cobra. He's Cobra Commander, and he needs to send out.
There you go. Yes, that exists.
His lackeys.
I enjoyed that immensely, man. I love the VBD segments. It's the next evolution of VBD. I dig it. Keep it going. Alex Shelley appreciation video, and by the way, hey, there's Johnny Gargano. So yeah, in 720 724. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But it was cool to see Alex Shelley put over in that way. He has such a long history and effect, and it has had a massive effect on wrestling in general since his debut. But to recap it yet again and to remind people, like, hey, this isn't just a match thrown together. It is, obviously it is. We only have a few, whatever you want to say about it. Max obviously hopes it's a different thing, that it leads to a victory of Alex Shelley. But either way you look at it, his history is up there. It's up there. And I thought, people saying, and Johnny Gargano, it was nice. It was a nice touch. Next up was Josh Alexander, not for the world title.
All right, so based off of what I can find as I was Googling as you were talking, neither place that I can see says it's for the title. Cage Match doesn't say it was for the title, and neither does ProFightDatabase.com.
Okay.
So both of them do not say anything about being for a title match.
Okay, so it was just the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, maybe they added it for the title after it happened. Maybe they're like, whatever. Go ahead and but at the original time the match happened, it wasn't for the title.
Let's get those likes up. Let's throw a world title in there.
Yeah.
So anyways, regardless, Shira ain't getting that long-term title shot either. Josh defeated Shira here. Man, I was always one of those people that wasn't a Shira guy. You know that. But as he has progressed in the ring, his look, everything, man, I don't know where his ceiling is. Maybe he's already reached it. But I like where his floor is, man. I'm okay with it. And I really, I like him and Raj together. So it was nice for him to get some try against the best of Impact.
Yeah.
Next up was Gia with Moose, and Moose says him and Macklin are not together. They are not together. That was the thing. They are not together, not together. All right, we'll see.
That means that
next up, Honor No More was complaining to Scott per usual. Next up was another Ric Flair ad, followed by Vexed, looking at pictures, being them fine selves. And then Jessica comes in, and she's bubbly Jessica, because she's sick, right? Dig it. Don't know where it's going, which I like. We know where we hope it's going. But for now, it ended with Ragnarok coming in. Rosemary obviously being annoyed. Taya being into it. And obviously, we will get that match in Emergence. Next up, Raj is still in the ring from after the Shira match. of course, Raj going to do Raj, man, which ends up with Raj knocked out. So Sammy comes in, lights go out, Sammy comes in, and Sammy has a message for Musamak.
So this is one of those things, and I understand, obviously, this stuff is pre-taped, but this is one of those things that I would have liked to be there to see, like, how long do they actually have this man stand in the ring before...
It's live to tape, usually.
The tape, yeah, but I want, like, obviously I know sometimes, like, when you were there, they did what they had the king and queen of the didn't they do like a king and queen thing with Deanna and Matthew? So but you said they taped those matches like at different times. It wasn't like one right after another right after, like, you know what I mean, like it was they came in and switched. So I'm wondering, like, you're how long was
you're saying that Did they put Shira back on the floor and Raj back in the ring to do this later?
Or was this something that like how long was he just like chilling in the ring? Was there like, hey guys, you're just gonna come in there and just like cut like an angry promo like Jericho when he was doing his Man of 1,001 Holds, where they go to commercial and then he just starts shit talking the whole like wherever they are to get him to really like was it something like that to where he like gets in the ring and like starts saying horrible stuff about the crowd and then like, okay, now we're gonna kind of get to where we're going? Or was it just like, hey, he gets in the ring and then we're just gonna keep it running? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but no, I don't think that's what happened. I think it was straight to. I think it was going.
Okay, just one right.
I don't think they're like, hey, sure, get back on the ground and just randomly.
Well, like I obviously don't think like it was like, hey man, 20 minutes later, come out and film this thing. Okay. Like I'm wondering if he gets in the ring, like if there's anything that they say prior to him to get people worked up, or is it just like cut right to his thing and then?
We can't find out. We'll find out in Philadelphia, hopefully. If everyone's along for us, we will. I don't know if Max is there, but we're all going to try to go to Philadelphia when they finally announce. Max, which one is longer, the Raj segment or Flair's last match? We're not caught up. I'm seeing some spoilers coming here, which is fine. We're not going to whatever. Major players ruin Josh versus Jacob 2. Okay. All right, Max, which one's... Oh, yeah, I already just read that. Yeah, anyways, that was too much time on Raj getting sassed. Respect to Raj, though. Next up was the Ric Flair moment of the week, ironically. This was Jay Lethal and him, who's also involved in that match, or that, I guess, just happened. I'm not sure. Next up was Gia with Mia, and I love this because just a little bit of a transitional shot there where the feed goes, and then we find out what's wrong with the feed as Scott goes to the truck, and it's Honor No More unplugging things or something. I don't know how in today's day and age you mess up that. I was playing. Hey, yes, let's plan that. Cool, Io. Shout out to Io. That'd be cool. Yeah, so they're messing with their truck. They're messing with the feed. Honor No More wants their rightful place in Impact, I guess. They don't feel the love. They've been picking up the wins. They're back on track.
So let's be realistic. They got there. They invaded, attacked people that worked there when they didn't work there, story-wise, right, and got their jobs by beating Impact people. I can understand why Scott's like, man, fuck you guys. I'm not going to give you anything. Like, why would I give you love? I hate you.
But that's the point. That's the point.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I get where Scott's coming from. I don't like you guys.
No, they unplugged Josh Matthews' phone. We lost the feed or whatever. Remember those days? Anyways. Yeah, so that's up. So now what we're going to get is what we alluded to before. We kind of already said our piece about it. But Honor No More versus Bullet Club with Hikuleo being the fifth man. And it's going to be for all the glory, meaning that if Honor No More, they didn't say they're fired. They said if they lose, they're disbanded.
They have to disband.
And if they win, they get title shots. How many? Well, there's only world titles. Unless someone on the Bullet Club wins something prior. Wait, did they say...
I think they get a title shot. I'm assuming they get a title shot for the tag titles. That's what Bullet Club holds. Unless they're going to get a title shot at the never open weight title. I mean, maybe.
I just meant maybe hey, ever you get a world and you get it's Oprah style. You all get a damn.
I guess. I feel it's weird that beating Bullet Club gets you a world title shot. I think they're amazing. I didn't realize Scott, current member of Bullet Club, by the way, never was kicked out. apparently, I mean, maybe that's why he's like, hey man, you beat these guys, we give you.
Hey, if
Jay White gonna pop up, you're gonna give him a IWGP title shot too. Like, whatever, just go out there.
And last up, and not definitely not least. Oh, we'll finish that though to say our piece. Yeah, I'm cool with either way. Once again, prefer them to stay together for a little bit longer. But I don't know.
Yeah, the only time I root against Bullet Club is if it's for the greater good of a story.
Yeah.
And I feel like Honor No More getting some gold would be the greater good. I do find it interesting. I'm pretty sure Hikuleo is the only outside of the people in Impact that are in Bullet Club. Pretty sure he's the only one not in G1 Climax, so I think that's why he got shoved into this. Like, hey man, we need a fifth guy, and you aren't doing anything right now. Go get him. So we need you to defend our honor over an Impact.
Whatever. He's still a member.
I like him. Oh no, I like him. Yeah, I'm just saying. I think he's the only one.
20 next up. Last up is Kushida defeating Rich Swann in the main event. I didn't really think about who would win this, right? I thought maybe, well, Kushida's debuting, but it could just be we're both warriors. Rich Swann's going to go title.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case. Kushida picked up the victory here, man. The Scott D'Amore trained Kushida, by the way, which is pretty cool. Tidbit, but yeah, Kushida with the cool Tron, the whole shebang came out, looked great, man. I forgot how much I love Kushida. Great match.
Could he be the Josh Bound for Glory opponent?
I want to.
I mean, if you think, like, normally when they bring people in like this, I mean, Jonah obviously got a run, but a lot of times guys who were only going to be there a short amount of time usually take some L's. Giving Kushida a win right off the bat against Rich Swann. I mean, his history with Alex Shelley, maybe after, like, just. I mean, maybe he's.
I don't know, man. We'll talk about that. Yeah, that's rough, man. I don't know, because I'm still for the Bound for Glory series. I'm gonna keep wishing it into existence.
Yeah, you just want Matt Taven, making Matt Taven great again.
It's not about that. We'll talk about it because there's a question into play in this. But that was your impact on Oh yeah, and it was a great main event. I don't want just because we're passing by. It was a great main event. What do you expect from Rich Swann and Kushida? But it was dope to see Kushida out there again, man, having fun. And man, good shit, man. Never ages. Dude never ages.
Isn't he 40-something?
39?
Close enough for 40.
That's how math works.
All
right.
39,
but let's see,
yeah.
Most importantly, what did you guys think? Your Twitterverse poll of the week. What did you guys rate Impact on Access TV? 10% with D, 12% with C, 39% for B and A. Respectful. The B and A, there's no shame in that. Both a win. C, I don't know, man. But D, come on, guys.
Yeah, maybe if you wanted more storyline advancement, I could maybe see a C. Like if you were looking for like things to, like,
stories. Yeah,
maybe
instant gratification.
But I mean, the D people, I can only assume that that's Tony Khan once again going on down.
My batch. Anyways, so what did you grade it, Max? What was your?
I'd probably give it. It's rough because the opening and the closing were amazing.
Yeah.
I thought there was good stuff. I'd probably give it a B+.
I'm with you. I could rock with that. I agree with you there. But most importantly, guys, this is what you guys thought. If you want to change it, look out for it every Thursday after Impact. Get those votes up. We're down the decline. We haven't hit our number again. I want to hit 100, so at least we could be, Steve Harvey Family Feud legit. But let's get those numbers up, guys. But 39 is not bad. That's quick math, 78%. No, is that bad math? No, that's right math.
78.
All right.
Because there's 2%, I'm assuming, gave it an E.
What?
Well, we have 39 and 39 is 78.
Yeah.
Plus 20
2.
is 98%.
Next one was 12 and one was 10.
Oh, one was 12. Oh, I thought both were 10. My apologies. I thought both said 10%. It's the color. I couldn't see it, so my apologies.
We're at the 40-minute mark. Of course, we're going to go over, but we're having fun. Next week, it looks like we'll probably have the Impact Zone then. I wanted to wait for post-emergence, right? I don't know. Let's leave it to you guys. Tell us what you think.
We'll see.
But we got 8 comments for you. Some of them kind of play into each other. But the last one does mention kind of knowing when our rumor part is, our hot topic section. It's about 35 minutes in. We'd like to stick to that. Should we do timestamps? We should, but
We'll at least put a notification at the bottom that comments start at 40 minutes.
I ain't doing shit.
Oh, you should. Just take 1 second.
I got kids. All right, let's get into number one here.
Kid, you have one.
Don't knock it till you have one. All right. First up is.
I'm just saying, you can't say you have kids. You have kid.
Do you treat your cats like your kids?
Yes.
How many cats do I have? All right, let's move on here. Code name Bobby. First comment that I can remember, so thank you for that, buddy. This comes via Twitter. The mishandling, this is with Gresham. The mishandling started way before him being updated about the day of pay-per-view. Yes, I think he's basing it off the clip. We talked about it in greater detail on the show. Gresham wasn't being used at all on AEW/ROH TV. They should have put him in more matches to display him. His wrestling talent, then just putting him on Dark. Personally, he should have been treated like Yuta. So we're going to hold off on that because we're going to mix it with this. Our buddy Chris Saletta, who was there at Death Before Dishonor. So here's my thoughts around the situation. Didn't come out with a trademark flag or mask. Match was 11 minutes. Gresham did show up and do his job. No acts of unprofessionalism. Didn't do the media scrum. Now, the question here is, does this all go back to Rebellion when he was pulled from the pay-per-view? The build was terrible. He appeared during a random backstage segment, turned heel, and they removed Tully Blanchard as the manager. Max, thoughts on that all?
So, I mean, I definitely agree that it wasn't just the build of the pay-per-view. It was 2 months. He was not on Dark Elevation, Dark Elevator, whatever the hell 15 million shows they have. They couldn't get him on one of them. So I definitely agree with that. Apparently, as I said, he couldn't get in touch with Tony Khan at all. I understand why he was frustrated. I still think there was an issue at Rebellion. I don't know if Tony Khan didn't want him. I know that he said allegedly he had a concussion. He wasn't cleared. He wrestled the night before at a different promotion. But I don't think that's why Tony treated him like crap. I just think that Tony Khan had zero plan to ever use him, realized I got to get the title off this guy, and decided to rush something. The Tully Blanchard thing, I'm pretty sure he was going to go the same way as what's his face? X-Men guy who used to be Impact. I can't remember his name. Brian who is the guy? He was the guy that Tony Khan extended the contract. Brian Cage, thank you. Couldn't remember. I'm pretty sure he was going to do the same thing with him. They stick him in that group, and he's never heard from again. But the reason why they switched it from Tully Blanchard, because Tully Blanchard didn't show up, and they needed to change something, so they gave it to Prince Nana, who bought it. I mean, it was all thrown together crappily. It was basically just a way to get Cesaro the title, and Tony realized, oh crap, I need to have some type of storyline behind this, and speed rushed it in a month. And it was, I understand why the guy was upset. I'd be upset too. Yeah.
I don't think there's more to add to that. I think at the end of the day, if he went out there and did the job and he did it correctly, you can't fault the guy. He's obviously upset. And I hope for everyone it works out. More importantly, I hope he comes to Impact. Be honest.
Yeah, and I agree. I definitely think he should have been treated like Wheeler Yuta. I think that would have been a much better way to use him. And I think if they would have treated him that way, they would have gotten him over instead, because he got mad at AEW. He's just getting shit on, which is pretty crappy too.
Yeah, I don't know what Wheeler Yuta or any of that means, but I think he's a talented dude, and it'd be a waste for him to sit or to leave wrestling because of this silliness.
I agree with that.
But Gresham was supposed to wrestle tonight in Ric Flair's last match card. Was he, or did he commit? Did he do? Like, he actually was on it? I haven't watched the show. All right. Let's get to number 3 here. Metal Lazy 25. This is going to be fun. Sorry. No, just kidding. Once again, guys, putting your opinions on here for everyone else to judge or talk about is, I respect you. I appreciate you. And keep them coming. Once again, I know there's one in here, Metal Lazy 25, that I'm going to give you shit about. But let's Let's come at it right. With Ace and Bay in the tag division, I honestly don't think there's another newer talent on the roster that is on Josh's level. I think the best thing they can do is turn Josh into a full-on heel at the end of BFG match, no matter who he faces. Max, I want to get your opinion on Josh as a heel, which I think is once again, I think it's Angry Josh is the right Josh. How you get there is going to be a thing. But the point of the Bound for Glory series, which I see Millard mentioning in there as well, where we want everyone to have representation, all different companies, whatever. If you put someone in there like a Taven or an Ace or something to separate them from what they're already doing, that is the night you use in that method, the series, to get to Bound for Glory. Use that night to make someone on Josh's level or near.
Yeah. I mean, Angry Josh, I think, is good. My problem is, outside of Josh, like C4 spiking his wife in the middle of the ring or his kid, I don't know what he can do. I mean, even if I guess he could, if he like turns on Shelley and just after he beats him, just brutalizes him. Maybe you get boos that way, but I don't see people booing him. Like Moose had that ego, so it was very easy for Moose to just that ego to take over, and then Moose to become the wrestling god, stop doing the all that. Like there's things that he could easily do. Josh, I feel like at this point people really like him and they want to like him because he is the face of Impact. So if trying to turn him heel, like it now, Angry Josh, but I still think people are going to cheer for him, just like they cheered for Angry Austin, like Stone Cold. So
that's my point. Is if we have to go the route where he's heel, it's going. If he's just Mad Josh, which would be a heel, he's doing.
Yeah.
Is anyone going to boo him? Now, I get.
I don't think so.
Right, and that's what I'm getting at. Is can you turn him heel though? I think there's a way. I would think once again that the point is when you finally do, it has to be something along the lines of he decimated X, as you said, Alex Shelley. I don't think it should be Alex Shelley. I think it should be whoever he makes to be on his level, if that's Taven or that's Ace or whoever you insert here. Because once he turns heel, then you have created the ultimate face in whoever he did that to.
Yeah.
So I just right now I don't think so, but.
I do agree. The roster, looking at it, I do think it is lacking some top talent. But you have to remember, Bandito's going to be on Emergence. Mm-hmm. If he shows up, I think he instantly steps up into that top level. Like the guy's, he's a big name. So you have that. You can build guys. Yeah. Macklin isn't far from being built up in there. So there are people there. The Ace and Bay. I would really like to see Ace move up into the main event picture, but I also really like him and Bay together. And I think it's a different way to go for both of them to develop both of them as well. So,
I see someone maybe turn Josh heel and have him be the leader of Team Canada. I will tell you that unless the flag they are holding has Trudeau's face on it, still not heels in my book. Team Canada all day. I want Team Canada. I think it would be hard. I think he needs to beat like Max said, he needs to and that could be the formation. They decimate somebody, but I think you wait and you save that turn to take out the person that's going to be the next big face. Yeah. Next up is Best Side 92. As for Bound for Glory, here we go. Why not just have Josh for Swann? I think that's something. I think that's unfortunately like the Eric Young thing everyone had a fit about. I think people would have a fit about that. And then that's nothing against Swann whatsoever. I say that all the time. Between those ropes, there's no one better. More or less.
Except Kenny Omega.
More or less. I say more or less. But, he's great. But yeah, we can, and if he's part of the Bound for Glory series, makes sense. But when you're taking L's to Kushida after having, maybe it makes Kushida seem like it was to boost Kushida. But I like the Rosemary and Taya as Knockouts tag team champions. But if they're going to do comedy stuff, then Deonna and Chelsea should hold the Knockout tag titles. I don't agree. I think there's a place for everything. It's not like they're making fun of the belts. They just happen to be in a situation that's comical. And yes, I do want Deonna and Chelsea eventually to hold it, but not everything has to be serious. I hate this, I am the champion. I defend against everyone bullshit. Everyone doesn't need to be that.
they're doing their comedy stuff, but they have a feud going on. It's not like they vanished into Wrestle House and are just doing nothing but skits, and that's it. Like they're doing the skits, but they have a feud that's coming up. So personally, I would like to see Deonna and Chelsea win, and then obviously you can set up a later Team Ragnarok versus whatever Susie and Jessica become, whatever they're called. I would like that, but I don't think if they hold on to the belts, I don't see a problem with that.
I'm just saying, the Iceman Intel. Now, say what you will about it. He was talking about, was Sue behind this? Was James Mitchell? I just think the Susie and Jessica play, James Mitchell comes into it, turns them back to Sue Young and Havoc, and there you go. You got a new church, and that'd be fucking dope. But yeah, anyways, and moving on, still don't know what they're doing with the DMC. Looks like it's going the way of the Grand Championship. I'm gonna be honest, yeah, man. The lineage is still there. Myers is not a dip. It's who Myers is going to defend against eventually. Not Black Taurus, but we're going the route of X Division is that step. But for me, my problem is this with that. And I've been thinking about it, how to relate it. If you're saying Ace already mastered the X Division 3 times, Ace now has to go back to the X Division to beat people to then say, I'm ready for a world title. You know what I mean? Like, if you're saying that's that title that right before
that's the IC title.
It doesn't work like that. It doesn't make sense. So I was hoping that this is the route. Could they pull it out? It's possible. But right now it does look like they're using it as a TV title or a something that would be on WCW Saturday night.
Yeah, and I mean and that's rough because the X Division to me is those high flyer guys. Right. And granted, you can get the different style guy that goes in there, and Joe was that, but that to me is the signature of that division, the crazy stuff, the Ultimate X's. I think the best way to set it up is DMC and X Division are on the same level, and either one can graduate you to the main event. Don't bring the DMC down, like you said, make it a WCW Saturday main event title where you're like, maybe they're just waiting for some stuff. We'll see what happens. Maybe they're just trying to see.
It's just ideally that main event would have been for the DMC title for me. Kushida versus Swann are perfect.
That would have been perfect.
So,
yeah, maybe they're just trying to see if Bhupinder, when he gets his shot, can how does he show up in a big match? What does he look like? And we'll see.
Samoan drop, sling blade, gargoyle spear. That's what he looks like.
But I'm just saying, maybe they're, I don't know, who knows, or maybe he's just gonna take an L and then go. That would be the greatest thing if Brian Myers beats him in like a minute and a half.
Well, I don't want to shit on him. Once again, if you watch the show continuously, you know we're taking this more lighthearted approach with it. It's just the way they push him and talk about him is AJ likewise. It's like, bro, let's just pace let's pace ourselves. Let's keep this shit show going. Next up's our buddy Gary. I am for the BFG series coming back. Would you also do it for the knockouts too? Man, there are enough knockouts that they can do 2 Bound for Glory series. And there's
that'd be interesting. Yeah. That'd be a really good way to do it.
Not against it.
And the thing with the Bound for Glory series, much like G1, is people can take L's here and there when you're always when you're wrestling some top people. So it would be an interesting way to create some future matchups and then some future feuds.
That's a great point. My only rebuttal to that would be Impact is so good. We always creative is their right. That's the thing. Their ability to create matchups, if it's long-term storytelling, or if it's just Josh running into Stewart in the back. They are good at creating matches and ways to get into matches. And yes, they can add more drama into these things because, yes, I want my 3 points. Or 7 or whatever the hell it is. I want to make it to Bound for Glory. So they already have that. But if you have both sets of... I think it would be hard to do at the same time. I think it has to be one or the other. Do you want to break some ground and do the first Knockouts Bound for Glory series? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, with 3 hours of TV, really, whatever, however many minutes, the exact
88
amount.
minutes. 80 minutes.
I mean, it does become rough. That would literally be your setup, would be the Bound for Glory series. That would be the only thing you're focusing on, but who knows? We'll see. But I definitely think it'd be a good idea.
Yeah, he also writes, love the main event, Alex Shelley versus Chris Sabin. Talk about that. Put on a clinic on Thursday night. I'm happy for Alex Shelley. The man deserves to get rewarded with a title match at least. Obviously Max wants more. I'm okay with it. He says, Emergence on August 12th. Yes, as I wrote back to Gary, I kept saying August 18th. It's because that's when G1 ends, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So I kept saying August 18th. It is August 12th, Friday, August 12th. Friday, August 12th. Thank you, Gary, as always. All right. 6, here we go. Metal Lazy 25. Is this the one? No. I am glad that Kelly is using Awesome Kong's finisher. It'll be interesting if Masha and Kelly face off at Bound for Glory, or they promote Masha up to face Grace Mia at Bound for Glory. I still think the play here is Grace Masha, but we'll see. I don't really think Kelly should face off with Tasha just yet. She needs some wins before facing a former Knockouts champion. I call hypocrisy. When we were talking about Giselle and Lady Frost, you say we're puttering around, they're facing each other, what else would they do? They would need to both go trajectory. I think this is the right thing. It works Tasha back in there, even though I want her in the tag division. Killer Kelly, straight for Tasha. I like it.
I think you can give Killer Kelly maybe one other match where she squashes someone and Tasha's on. My brain stopped working, and Tasha's on commentary again. But I do think that right away setting something up where they interact real fast needs to be it. Like, I think that's a perfect first feud for her, and especially if you're eventually going to move Tasha and Savannah back to the tag division, it would be a good way. Obviously, Tasha can take the L because she's going back to the tag division, and I think it'd be a really good first match for her, or a good first feud.
Yeah, and I think the build and the vignettes have been so much that it already puts her on a tier that isn't Giselle or Lady Frost. No offense to them, but when they came in and what I was referencing to. So I just think it's the right way to go. Once again, she took care of 2 OVW girls. Let's see what she can do with the next one.
She's already being presented as a threat. Yeah. So you're not building her up from nothing. Like when Masha came in, she was kind of being built from nothing into what she is. People know Killer Kelly. People already have a they already have their opinion formed. Yeah. So just go. Like, strike while the fire's hot. She's been signed for 2 years. She has done shit for 2 years.
Let her out of her.
Worse than Gresham.
There we go. All right. Next up, he says, I thought Ace should have defeated Eddie, would have helped elevate him. I disagree. I think the win does more for the story of Honor No More than it does for Ace to then do what with. They needed a win. They had, Bullet Club did beat the Kingdom. They were taking some L's, obviously, in other places as well. So this was important. I thought they needed to get the win, and I think it does more for Eddie and Honor No More than it would have done for Ace. I do think Ace needs a new finisher. This is what I think I was. Though, Eddie isn't even that big and easily threw off Ace like he was nothing when he was going for his finisher. Man, it's wrestling. And also, I love the Fold.
I love his finisher. Because the thing I like about his finisher, he is a smaller guy. He's 5'8", 5'9". So smaller guys, you can't have a jackknife powerbomb as his finisher. And one of the things I like about his finisher is he can quickly hit it. Like, if he runs in and he can clip somebody's knee, he can hit him with a elbow, and then he can back up, and as they're trying to get up, he can hit him with their finisher. And I like finisher, like super kick is like that. Rock bottom, stunner. Fast things that you can set up and kind of surprise, to me, are finishers I really, really like. I think it adds something. So
it's also it's a speed thing. That's his. He's a speedy dude for the most part. It's a technique or a technical. I don't know how to fucking word it. My point is though, is that it makes sense for the type of guy and stature he is, because yes, Eddie pushed him off or whatever the deal was in this one situation. All that says is Eddie was not ready to. I mean, he's hitting on Moose. He's hitting on multiple people.
I mean, people don't kick out of One Winged Angel, but multiple people have broken up and stopped One Winged Angel from being hit. Like you punch him in the head, you slip down. Doesn't mean Kenny Omega needs a new finisher. It's just it's about. I mean, it's telling a story, but it's like it's knowing now's the time to hit my finisher, and now I can end the match with it. And I think him losing. Here's the thing. He's a part of Bullet Club, and of that group, the 4 of them that are always in Impact. 2 of them are tag team champions. So you're really not having them lose. And one of those tag team champions is the never open weight champion. So Carl Anderson isn't taking pins at all. Yeah. So you need some guys. And as much as I dislike seeing Ace Austin and Chris Bay take the L's, they're popular enough and they've been presented big enough that they can lose. They can take a couple L's in a good row and then immediately get back in there with a win or 2, and he didn't lose to fucking Shira. He lost to Eddie Edwards. So like you're losing to someone who's clearly a big deal, and sometimes it's going to happen. You're going to lose to a guy who when you go against a guy who's on your level, you can lose to him. So
it wasn't. Once again, it was Eddie. But it was a hard fight. It was a hard hitting match. It wasn't like it was just like, oh, Eddie beat the shit out of So, anyways, next up is his next one, his last one. Well, Dakota Kai is back with WWE. Yep. Triple H takes control of creative and talent relations. Glad Impact is promoting more knockouts because they can't let the knockout division turn into the main event scene where they are relying so much as a single wrestler. That's what it is. The pessimism is not needed, Metal Easy 25. We know where we're at. Especially now if certain KOs, when they become free agents, decide to leave for WWE in hopes Triple H will give them a chance to be on the main roster. I said it to you, Max. I gave that a thumbs down, Metal Easy 25. One for the single wrestler part. It is reality. We talked about that. They need to elevate people. There's no reason to keep mentioning it. As far as the Triple H thing, I think you you stay in your lane and you keep doing what you do. You don't just say, "Oh, Triple H was hired or it was promoted. We got to start taking care of our talents. We need to start being nicer to our wrestlers. We need to start giving them more money." It doesn't work. They're going to continue being what Impact is. It doesn't change it either way, but I get the sentiment that he's going to go for people that whatever. I don't think the promise of being a main event knockout or women's wrestler in WWE is a promise that is going to be made anytime soon. I don't know.
Well, so here's the thing. Once again, I agree with you. I think Impact's going to treat their wrestlers the way they've always treated their wrestlers, which to me seems pretty good. They may not pay like WWE and AEW, but they take care of their people. When it comes to Triple H, I wouldn't be concerned with him going after Impact's free agents. I'd be more concerned that people we thought might be available from WWE will no longer be available. Yeah. Because I think there's enough people in WWE that Triple H will take care of them and focus on just saying, hey, I know you're upset with your character. I know you're upset with what you're doing. Let's build that back up. So Sasha and Naomi, I have a feeling they're probably not going to be available now. I think Triple H goes in there and fixes that relationship. Obviously, Dakota Kai fixed that. So I think that's what you have to see is WWE's potential free agents will no longer become free agents. Mm-hmm. So that you lose. But I don't see him right now going back on his super indie hiring spree where he's trying to, because at that point in time he was trying to make NXT into a super indie
competitor.
NXT, yeah. It's just like, it's basically like, hey, this is a super indie, like this is what I want to make it. Now NXT is really is back to its roots as developmental, which I like. And I think you'll see maybe a couple guys show up. I actually think if there was any company that I'd be upset about, it'd be AEW as some of their people come up for contracts. That maybe people who have left, that he grabs them and brings them back. People that he had like stories for it and did good had creative directions for, and then Vince took him on the main roster and dumped all over him. That's where I think he'll go more than going after Impact. So.
Yeah, and you also already saw Eli Drake or whatever his name is now, Max Lord, coming back after supposedly whatever. So I think you're right. I think it will be more about mending fences for him and not going on a signing spree right now. He's got to take care of in-house and whatever. Doesn't mean they won't dabble. It doesn't mean we don't keep our guard up. But once again, Impact just has to do Impact. Impact's success does not rely on the failure or success of other companies. They stay in their lane. They do their thing. They're growing slowly. It is what it is. Those people, like Max said, the Dakota Kais, I think, who else came back or was about to be...
Io Shirai.
She was about to expire, and they mended that fence. Yeah. So I think the mending of bridges and fences is the key with him. And you got to remember, there are people that he also rubbed the wrong way. There's people, there's people out there. So I honestly think him coming back into play, them maybe going to TV14, and him being the helm, if that really is legit, it seems to be. It's going to take time. It's going to bring, and I predict a recession in wrestling, but I just think that with him at the helm and the things he will do, like you said, reach out to AEW people, and I not to shit on them whatsoever, pro wrestling, I'm sure AEW will take some of theirs. The point is I think with him being there, he knows how to put some fire to some stuff. And if WWE's good, it's going to start heating up.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be a next week. WWE's going to be a completely different show.
No.
It's going to be a slow change and a slow build for him, and that's going to take time. So maybe a year, 2 years from now, once he gets WWE where he wants it and this is everything set, maybe that. But even then, I think it's running the main shows Raw and SmackDown is different than running SmackDown than running NXT.
No, for sure. So. A lot of different, not only operational things you need to do. There's a whole different mindset from the talent. A lot of these people have been in the game for a while. He has a relationship with them prior. There's a lot of work he's got to put into. Yeah, it's not going to be that simple. I see a couple cool things going on there about Kelly, heel or babyface. I think she's a tweener. I think she's, speaking of WWE people, I think she's a Randy Orton right now. She's like kind of, I feel that vibe. I also see that Impact looked good on the Flair show tonight. That's awesome. Let's see, Lance Storm taking over the Scott role, Josh Speedball, Davey Boy. Team Canada. Yeah, man. And a woman as well on the Canada roster. Yeah, Taylor Wilde or someone like that. They could do something cool, man. I'm all for always a Team Canada rehash. I just think that it's going to be hard to boo those people you just named. It's going to be tough. Speaking of, and this is why we were mentioning the minutes thing, post data. Okay. Highly recommend doing a short video with all rumors. 1 hour and 19 minutes is way too much. I want to see it, but I don't have that much time. Also have a big project for the channel. If you want to talk to me, I work for a wrestling company in Spain. Hopefully it's not bigger than 1 hour and 19 minutes, bro. Yeah, man. No, I get what you're saying. I want to address this, and this isn't negative whatsoever. We appreciate you reaching out, and hey, reach out to us. You can write us at TNAIWChannel. I don't know if you can write us through YouTube, but hit us up. Yeah, always down to talk about stuff. So respect. The point I bring up with it is, we're going to stick to trying to do, yes, I'm being lazy, but about 35 minutes in will be the hot topics, and forward, prior is going to be Impact review and what everyone thought of the show. Fair? It's fair. If we get to timestamps, we'll do it, I promise, but either way, we appreciate you writing it. Last up, Best Side 92. Again, sort of funny how AEW fans, pro wrestling, wrestling news sites and wrestling YouTube news channels were super quick to say Johnny Gargano isn't signed with Impact. It's almost like they want every top ex-WWE talent to sign to AEW, but that can't be. Max, your thoughts on that, and your thoughts on Johnny Gargano, man. This was the first appearance he made in wrestling. I'm not saying optimism here, but let's talk it.
Yeah, I think he's correct that they do want every big name in wrestling to be in AEW. Let's ignore the fact that they don't have time for half of the people that are on their roster.
Well, they have the time.
but if you count Dark and Elevation, they do. But they have 3 hours. They have Raw. That's it. And so, like,
That's
I mean, I think that's an issue. That's what they have. They have 3 hours, and it is an issue. You can't sign everybody. I completely agree with that. As far as Johnny Gargano, I don't know if he's signed to Impact. I know he's probably just did this because obviously doing some appearances, making some money, doing whatever. But I think it's interesting. I think he could be someone that goes back to WWE potentially. We'll see. But I think that it's people. I don't know. There are a lot of news sites out there who want AEW to be legit competition for WWE. And it's just funny to me because back in the day when Impact would sign all the ex-WWE guys, this apparently was a bad thing.
Right.
Now you got 78-year-old Chris Jericho about to fight for a title, and he's about to bring back he's about to bring back Lionheart Chris Jericho. He's probably going to wear his lightning bolt pants from WCW, and people are excited about it. So it's just like, it's the double standard to me.
Could you guys guess which one of us actually watches and likes AEW?
I do. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's parts of AEW that I absolutely love. I have said the Acclaimed.
All right.
The greatest thing in wrestling. But it's just, to me, I feel like it's one of those things where it's just a double standard. I like when you can be critical, even of Impact. I think there's times when you need to be critical of Impact. And I feel like with AEW, if you're critical of AEW, people act like you're critical of their child. And they have no relationship whatsoever. They don't owe, like, they're just a fan. Like,
I get it. I do. And I get that. But once again, if staying in our lane, that doesn't, what they want isn't necessarily what's always going to happen. So
I agree.
As far as the focus here, Johnny Gargano probably didn't do that for any money. And if they did, it was a freaking, what do you call that, cameo. Because that was definitely done on a phone and was just done as a courtesy, I'm guessing, to Alex Shelley. Dope. I loved it. I know we skipped over because we're going to talk about here. I love Johnny Gargano. I think he's a talented dude. I'm not one that thinks that size matters. I always loved Rey Mysterio. Always was a cruiserweight guy. Is it hard to believe sometimes, or would it be difficult to believe maybe a Gresham or Gargano versus Moose? Sure, but there's a story to be told. And I think when talent speaks over anything else. So I think Johnny would be a good get. A great get, but I don't see it happening. Triple H being there, Max already alluded to it, man. I think that's one of the situations where, once again, mending bridges, seeing something different in people and saying, hold on. Let's come back. Let's get back into it. So I think that's one of those situations. If he comes, all for it. But once again, is he one of those people, depending on how much he costs, is he one of those people that you throw the bag at and say, this is going to be the game changer? I don't think there's anyone like that out there, even in the biggest of big with a Sasha or a Bray. Or a Wyatt, whatever you call them, or Wyndham. I just don't think that constant ratings boosting is what people want. I don't think that there's anyone out there really that changes it.
So hear me out.
Okay.
You reach out to Vince McMahon. You're like, hey, bro, come into Impact. And then you get Brock Lesnar to follow. And it's Brock Lesnar, Josh Alexander, and Bound for Glory.
Hey, man.
That'd be never happened, but it'd be awesome.
I'm laughing and agreeing only because it's funny. Is that I thought about it the other day. I was like, what would really change, push that needle? We always talk about it. What moves that needle forward? Are they a needle mover to the point where Impact should extend their...
Yeah.
I think the only one out there is Shane McMahon. You get Shane McMahon to buy a stake in Impact like he did at WCW. I don't know, man. I just think there's very little those kind of people left. And joking aside,
Yeah, I
don't
agree.
know, not to make it that, but there's 88 minutes of television, and you could start to feel in these more recent episodes, it is a little thin.
I agree.
Not
I think
negative,
if you want to talk about the needle movers, it's Cena, The Rock, Shane.
We had
like
Rock.
and yeah, but I'm talking about like actually
Pump the
wrestling.
rankings.
And those guys, like even guys like Roman Reigns and stuff, like I don't know, maybe a quick
Yeah.
pop, but it's unfortunately wrestling. Your needle movers are your people from when wrestling was at its peak. And I mean like the top guys, Stone Cold. Those are your needle movers. Unfortunately, and you and I have talked about it, the people who watch wrestling now, your casuals are gone. They're wrestling fans. It's a program they watch. They may not all be super hardcore fans, but they're all wrestling fans. So
Yeah, and I think the once again what Impact is focusing on and what they should focus on is being that ECW like thing, owning that branding, saying we are the island of misfit toys.
Yeah.
We're cooler than everybody. We're edgier than everybody. We're more creative than everybody. And I firmly believe that. Is that bias? I don't watch anything else, so it could be. But when I watch it and I say, if everything's as good as Impact, then I don't know why wrestling isn't at the peak of peaks. I feel like if Impact just had more people in an arena, no one would say shit. And that's the only thing setting us back. So all we can do as to move that needle is show up to the shows, buy tickets. When you're there, talk to the people around you, make signs, be part of the show in the good way. Pro wrestling, right? Bringing other companies down doesn't do anything. Ours, we need to keep lifting Impact up. So we'll put that all together. Unfortunately, Taste of Wrestling isn't big to have a needle in the middle. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I want to end this off on a good note. I thought Impact was great. I think you guys are great. Thank you. Let's get those numbers up. Twitch, let's get it up to 103 now. That's what we need. And 325 on subs. Pretty damn cool. You see what we're turning into here. TNA channel, just basically talking nonsense about. We're going to be talking about a few new things, including our buddy, Mr. Impact Craig, who does a great show every Thursday, Talking Bloody Nonsense with him and Nixon. He announced it, I believe. Either way, it's coming very soon. He's doing a Man U show. We already mentioned it. We will be doing a Nick show. So some other sports being involved in this channel. And we thank you guys for sticking with us for the past 2 years. Holy shites. But thank you. Keep coming with the comments, and we'll keep putting them in the YouTube or in the hot topics section. Max, anything else you want to?
the last 2 weeks I've promoted a non-impact thing at the end. This week I will promote Dynamite last Wednesday, Ricky Starks versus Danhausen. Go watch that match and the events afterwards. Ricky Starks is a superstar in the making. Man's going to be a star. He's amazing. I know you don't like him. He's going to be amazing, but check out that match and the events afterwards. I really enjoyed everything that's going on.
Are the Knicks still in the NBA? What a horribly cliche. They are better than a lot of... I don't even get to that. Thank you, guys. Thank you for rocking with us. You'll have to tune in to our other show.
They're still more popular than Brooklyn.
It's not saying much. It's not saying much. All right, guys. We love you. We thank you. We'll be back. We'll talk about the Impact Zone coming as a monthly special, as we already said. But we're trying to stick around Emergence. We'll have the pre-show for Emergence Friday. I don't know who will be with me. We'll talk about that, Max. But thank you. And make sure you check out all the other shows. Tuesday, GoGoPowerRankings with Tia and Bert. Thursday, Talking Bloody Nonsense with Craig and Nixon. Guys, thank you. It's a pleasure as always. Thank you for coming out.
Later, guys.